Hey guys, I'm here with Ben Reilly. We're here to talk about Cheeri0s, your pet deck.
My pet deck, yeah. So it's a combo deck. It's really fragile. So the premise of the deck is that you either play Pure Steel Paladin or SRAM Senior Edificer, and then you play a bunch of nothing spells that draw you a card each time, and then eventually you Grapeshot them for over 20.
Nice.
Yeah.
And like to kind of support it, you have the Retract, the Paradoxical Outcome, and the Hurkyl's Recall.
Yeah. So some of the kind of interesting things about this deck, you'll notice that 2 plains, 4 Flooded Strand, 4 Windswept Heath, 2 Sea Chrome Coast, 2 Hallowed Fountains, 1 Sacred Foundry. It's only 15 lands because you really don't go too much above 2 other than the Paradoxical Outcome.
Right. You don't want to draw more lands too, and you have Mox Opal.
And you have Mox Opal, so it's 19 lands.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Sure.
Yeah, so if you're going to build this deck, the important thing is that you have, there's 24 artifacts, 4 of them are Mox Opal, 20 of them are equipment. So a third of your deck should draw you a card when you have this out. So basically what you want to do is hope they tap out on turn 2.
Okay.
And you play your creature, your engine, and then you chain as many equipments as you can. Hopefully you'll get a Mox Opal and a Retract, and you do it all over again. Probably wins turn 2 10% of the time.
Wow. That's still a pretty high percentage for Modern.
Yeah, as long as they're not interacting. Like if you get a free turn 2, it's probably 10% of the time.
That must happen a lot though, because I mean, if you open on Flooded Strand and say go, they're gonna tap out. They're gonna think you're a blue-white control deck or something like that. And then you slam your card, and there it is.
Yeah, a lot of the time you'll go, Flooded Strand, fetch for Hallowed Fountain, and then you go Serum Visions, and they're like, okay, this is a control deck. I'll play my Tarmogoyf, get it past their counterspell, and you say kill you, or at least get halfway there.
Huge advantage.
Yeah. Some of the things that make it kind of harder to play is that when you don't kill them, you have to last as long as you possibly can. There's a couple special cards that I see different in my list than online.
Okay.
You'll notice 2 Paradoxical Outcomes. I like that because a lot of the times you draw half your deck and have a bunch of things on the table, but you just can't kill them. So that kind of lets you get a good storm counter off or draw more cards when your engines die, when you untap, which happens most of the time. Sigil of Distinction has been a huge benefit. A lot of people are running Bonesaw, but I'd recommend, if you're to build this at home, to run Sigil of Distinction over it, because sometimes late game they've sideboarded all their resources in to just stop you, and they don't really have a way to win themselves. So if you get a creature out, and maybe they have a Chalice of the Void, which is really popular. I've played people who keep 1 land Chalice of the Void and think they're going to win.
I keep that too.
Yeah, but then Sigil of Distinction,
nice.
Gives a Giant's Growth or +3/+3, and then you have a 5/5. I've won a couple games that way.
I saw you your Grapeshot get trick binded, and then you won with Sigil of
I
Distinction.
did not know that card existed.
Yeah. I really enjoyed your face when you read the trick bind.
Yeah. So now I play around trick bind every chance I get.
Sure.
Another one, the one last kind of tricky thing, Noxious Revival. Thoughtseize is good against this deck, and sometimes they take Grapeshot and think they can't lose.
Right.
Noxious Revival gets it back.
Nice.
It also makes you have a couple more retracts. Bring back Retract. You can't find the other ones. Or since you only run 15 lands, get a land back on top of your deck.
Okay.
To play your guy.
Also important to note with that card, you can target their card. You can put their land on top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't think I've ever done that.
It's a time walk.
Yeah.
Kind of.
You can. That's pretty good. I'll have to think about that more.
There you go. That's why you bring you into the mood. So what's a good matchup? What's a bad matchup?
If I see black on the other side of the table, it's worse than any other color.
Okay. Discard, right?
Discard, yeah. I ran into a situation today where I was, 3 cards left in hand for the other guy, and I drew my Pure Steel Paladin.
Nice.
And I had to think, I can't really go off this turn. Do I keep it in my hand to play around Thoughtseize, or do I play it and play around Fatal Push? Played it, got Fatal Push. So they have a lot of interaction that makes it kind of tough. Death Shadow, definitely good against this deck, but they do end up tapping out a lot, especially if they make you discard your things. So Noxious Revival, there's another one in the board, along with Paradoxical Outcome, if you can get there, can bring you back. I'm probably 50-50 against it lifetime, like 6 games, but I don't think it's quite a 50-50
Right.
matchup.
How much of that could be like them not knowing what you're doing and surprise factor?
That's the big thing about this deck. If they know what you're playing, they'll mulligan into a Path to Exile, and you're going to have a bad day. If they don't know what you're playing, and they go turn 2 Tarmogoyf, I have
win.
You're in a good spot.
Or get a huge advantage.
Yeah.
So when you are playing against these decks that are like huge discard, creature kill, what do you side in? What's your plan?
So if I'm not worried about exiling, I'll bring in Noxious Revival because it kind of just makes you you pretty much mulligan until you don't have either of these, or you do have one of those. So Noxious Revival kind of makes it nice because they're like Thoughtseize. You go, I'll draw it again because it doesn't. Card advantage isn't huge, just because you just need the right cards.
When you go off, you go off.
Yeah, exactly. Burrington Forge Tender I have in here just because you can't beat an Eidolon of the Great Revel.
Ooh. Oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
So it does shut off their Eidolon if you use it
For one turn.
For one turn, which is all you need. Or it protects your guys from a lightning bolt. So
that's terrible.
Yeah,
I don't want.
Burn is not fun.
What happens when they play that game one? You scoop instantly?
You try to get a big Spiritual Paladin with Sigil of
God.
Distinction. I almost got there once, but no. I don't think I've beaten Burn game one. Post board's been better because you get Path to Exile too.
Yep.
And Swan Song can be kind of good against them.
Okay. Counter that crucial spell.
Yep, it counters Eidolon.
Yeah. Enchantment creature.
Yeah, exactly. Control's kind of tough game one. Hopefully they tap out for a turn 2 Serum Visions or turn 1 Serum Visions and you just have it. But other than that, you go to game 2 and 3 and have 4 silence to make sure they don't interact with you. Path to Exiles for like Eldrazi, big guys. I like it against Death Shadow, maybe 2 or 1 or 2. And then Lab Maniac is for. There's some cards that exile Grapeshot from your hand.
Okay.
Like Thought-Knot Seer.
Surgical.
And then you can't win.
Yeah.
So you have to bring in something else that wins.
Fair enough.
Also, there's Infinite Life decks. Lab Maniac
Nice.
gets around Infinite Life. And the last card, probably the most important on the board, you always bring it in, is Echoing Truths, because you can't beat Leyline of the Sink.
They always have some way to interact, a permanent way to interact with you, right?
Right.
Thank you.
All right.
This is a cool deck, man. So, like, what?
Thank you.
What do you and I have to apologize to you. Whenever I have you on camera, you lose.
Yeah, I'd lose every camera match. Yeah.
We know that I'm your curse, but I always talk smack about the deck because I'm like, oh, this deck is terrible. Because when it loses, it looks so bad.
Oh yeah, you're the worst deck in the room when it's losing.
But every tournament, you're at the top tables. Every tournament, you're doing well.
Yeah.
And you're 3-1 now.
3-1 right. 4-1 I think.
4-1 right now.
Yeah.
So clearly, you're doing something right.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's the kind of thing where your deck looks awful if it loses.
Yeah, I mean, you mulled a 3 because you don't hit this for the first, that happens.
Yeah. How about like when you have like 2 lands and a Serum Visions?
It depends. Your hands are really weird. I think the hardest part is what hands you keep, what hands you not keep.
Yeah.
If I have a Retract, a couple of these, and 2 Serum Visions, I'll usually keep because it digs me a little bit, depending on the matchup, if it's faster or slower. If I have a couple lands in Paradoxical, sometimes you can go turn 3 Paradoxical with a bunch of these out, and then just draw a bunch. But usually, you just look for one of these in your opening hand, and at least 1 land, or 2 lands, or 1 land Serum Vision, something like that. Discard, if you're making this, it's probably being cut right after this, or Arrayo.
Okay, now for people who don't know what Arrayo is, Saviors of Kamigawa rare, what does it do?
So it's a 1/1 for 2. And it says when the 4th spell is played on your turn or on a turn, it flips, and it flips to a legendary enchantment that says counter the first spell your opponent plays each turn.
Nice.
So it's kind of like Pure Steel and SRAM 9 and 10, where it's a reason to keep the hand rather than mulligan, and then hopefully you draw this later on.
And you didn't get that from someone. You just came up with Arrayo.
Yeah, I was looking at a commander deck with Arrayo, and I thought that's a pretty sweet commander. And then I thought maybe I should put that in this deck.
Nice. Well, I hear time being called, Ben, so I'm going to let you go. You want to call a shot? How are you going to finish today? And remember, people will be watching this already knowing how you're going to finish. So careful.
I'll say 5-2.
Okay, wow. I'm going to have a little faith.
You want me to have 6-1?
I think you're going to be in the
Maybe
finals. You're going to be in the finals.
In the finals?
That's my guess.
Up top?
That's my guess.
Right.
Rooting for you, buddy.
All right, thank you.
Good luck.